Hello. How you feeling tonight? I feel pretty good. I I accomplished something today. This is gonna sound silly, but I accomplished something today. And after about 2 weeks, after the rest of the world did this, I managed to watch Evangelion on Netflix. Now, most people were watching this again for the first time in a long time. For me, it was basically the first time. But I should explain. In the 90s, I watched a lot of anime. I mean, the 90s was basically started with me discovering what anime was and then falling deeper into the hole. So, of course, me and my anime loving friends had Evangelion tapes around. And of course, they told me to watch it. And of course, I looked at it a little bit. So, like, the last 25 years, I've recognized all those faces and characters and creatures on posters. I know what those things are, but just where they're from, not actually what they did or why they're important. I just knew that, oh, that's an Evangelion thing. That's Evangelion. Because, and I think this is pretty important, in the 90s, I was the most depressed I will ever be. Like, that was by far my lowest of the low points. I mean, the absolute bottom, rock bottom, was 1993, and I would say I spent most of the 90s getting a little bit better, but still, as a whole, the 90s were about me feeling bad about everything all the time. I graduated high school, went to college, didn't work. Worked a bunch of jobs, some of them were fun, some of them were not. Didn't feel good. Moved out of my home, not thrilled by the results. Had a girlfriend for about a year and a half, and then spent the rest of the 90s alone. So, yeah, the 90s were a bad time for me. And I think watching Evangelion, at the time, I thought two things. Number one, this show is about giant robots, and I don't like giant robots. Number two, what's wrong with this kid? I don't want to see this kid on TV ever again. Both of those are essentially improper reactions. I mean, it's a show that has giant things in it. And yes, that kid is depressed, but the story is about him being depressed. So, I'm sure at the time, I just didn't want to see it. But for me as an adult now, I thought it was pretty remarkable how this program dealt with essentially a lead character who had trouble responding or reacting to anyone around him because he was mistreated his entire life. I mean, indeed, the whole show, it's like there were a bunch of different kids who have all been mistreated in different ways, and none of the adults are particularly kind. Like, they're all kind of jerks. It was kind of a really weird show to experience now because normally when I watch a show, and if everyone in it isn't a jerk, I just kind of walk away. It's like, I don't have time for this. But I got caught up in the story they were telling. And I wanted to see how it played out. Which brings me to the end, because I'm not 100% sure how it played out. Now, I wouldn't... This is not like a Twin Peaks thing. Like, Twin Peaks has this weird sort of like, you have no idea what you're watching, but you either enjoy it or you don't. I'm pretty sure I followed Evangelion to the end, but I'm not so sure I completely follow the last, say, 2 episodes. Because it definitely seems like there's a story with characters and action, and the last 2 episodes are mostly dialogue and people reacting to things, but you can't really see what's happening. So it was a little confusing. But I really liked it. And what's next is the question. What's next? I know that Evangelion ended. The series ended at 26 episodes. But the story keeps going? Or it's retold? I don't know what happens. Because, for 20 years, I just ignored all of it. Because, well, I didn't see Evangelion, so I'm not going to watch this. 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. this weekend people will talk about 3.0 plus 1.0. Isn't that a 4.0? I don't know. So I don't know what to do next. I know the Netflix has 2 more things on it. One of them is called The End of Evangelion, and the other one is called Evangelion Death parentheses True close parentheses. Do I watch both those? Neither? Is one a remake and is one a reboot? I don't know the answer. So if you watched Evangelion, and odds are you have, please tell me what to do next, because I don't know. But I liked it, and I'd like to see some more. Please. And it's 5 minutes. More than 5 minutes. So good night, everybody. I'm out of power. But I love you.